Welcome to this Demio review.
Welcome to the Fridge Magazine article cast.
So welcome to this review of Demio. My name's Henry Reith, Fridge Magazine editor. We're going to go through a few of the positives, negatives, and take an in-depth look at what Demio is, why it's important, if there's any cons to the system, and really just do a nitty-gritty of the entire system and talk about how it really works. So, first thing is, what's its core features? What does Demio, what are the features that me and you as business owners can use? Well, first off, a huge thing, it's browser based. So unlike any other platform out there, you don't have to go and download 100 plugins and 100 bits of software that dodgily install somewhere on your computer. That also means for attendees that they can turn up without having to download any software. That's awesome. Integrates all the big autoresponders. I'll show you that some more in a sec. Hundreds of integrations, so it integrates with Zapier as well. So anything that Zapier integrates with, Demio can basically integrate with. That's awesome. The webinars are in real time, and I'll go into that in just a sec. Multiple segments and follow-up options. They made the whole follow-up sequence and deciding who to follow up with and when and how very, very easy. So we'll get into that. Obviously the webinars are recorded, but they don't, you don't have to go and set up, all sorts of secondary systems to record them or click the record button. None of that stuff. It just happens as soon as you start in the browser. And they have landing page builders, so you can create your own landing pages or embed buttons or anything else you feel like doing, but they take care of the whole registration process if that's what you want, or you can go to another system like Lead Pages or ClickFunnels or wherever if you want to use them. They're someone else's pages, but they have all the stuff built in. So current integrations, well, on here we've got Infusionsoft, Aweber, Onrtaprort, Mailchimp, GetResponse, ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, Drip, and MarketHero. That is what I use. So very, very excited. Great list. And as I said, if your autoresponder isn't here, they integrate with Zapier anyway. So all of that stuff can you can basically integrate with anything really. That's cool. So who's the system really for? Well, first off, marketing webinars. That's sort of the classic reason to run a webinar. Very much got that nailed, and that's something that they really wanted to focus on, and they've said multiple times that this is something they really wanted to focus on. Marketing, sales webinars, similar kind of thing, but you could do more of a sales presentation rather than an introduction to get your product. So in like a very corporate setting where you're giving sales presentations, then fantastic. The system's very much set up for that. Live Q&A sessions, they're actually going to be running one every single month themselves, but yeah, live Q&A, great way to do webinars if nothing else. Live training, I'm actually going to be using this a lot as we're doing some training for the company with some of the outsourced employees we've got, so perfect. This is actually a great system to do that. Interviews, you could say, good old Skype's good for interviews and other ways of doing it, but interviews are, it's great to have that option. And it can be used as, real-time chatting, and real-time presentation of desktop and all the rest. So that's awesome, and webcam. Group demos, I've actually been on a group demo with them, so that's how I kind of know it works. So, if you're demoing your product, I know that certainly some higher-end products, when you're going $500 upwards a month, there's a lot of group demos that are done. I've been on a few, and so very easy to do that. The absolute in thing at the moment, web summits, would work perfectly. I don't personally have plans to do any, but I can see how it would work really well for that. And customer onboarding, it's so much cleaner and nicer than an Uber conference or a Skype or GoToMeeting or anything else, but we'll get into that in a sec. So what are the three main benefits? Like, what am I going to actually really take away from just using Demio? Well, the high converting, so easy to use the platform. Like, I was almost scared I hadn't done something, because I managed to set up my first webinar in 3 clicks. So I was kind of looking around desperately thinking, what haven't I done? I'm sure you've used GoToWebinar. That's just a nightmare. Or, even WebinarJam, I think there's about 9 steps and 1 million clicks, but yeah, 3 clicks and it was all done. And all the menus are very easy to navigate. It's very 2016 onwards, when it's released. It's not something from the 90s that was continuously built on. So yeah, highly interactive. They made a huge point of saying our webinar service is to be interacted on. The whole point is live, it's real time. The audience can interact. It feels more like texting or messaging people on Skype. So, or messaging people on Facebook even. It feels a lot more like a conversation when you're in the webinar. So yeah, fantastic. So what's the essentials? 3 pricing tiers: 100 attendee package, 500, and 1000 attendee package. There's a link underneath this video. You can go and get the very, very best price around. So go and check out that link. And they give also a 60-day, no questions asked, money back guarantee. That's nuts. Not even 30 days, like full on, make all your money back plus way more from spending up front. That's quality. And the second you sign up for Demio, you get access. That's wicked. Big question, are there any alternatives? Yes, there are. Let's be realistic. Every system has alternatives. WebinarJam is going to be I think it's going to be a huge sort of question. WebinarJam versus Demio, and Demio versus WebinarJam. WebinarJam, it's been run on Hangouts classically. I know they're updating to the same kind of live in-browser technology as good old Demio, but at the moment I would probably, the features are very similar. There's a few more things that Demio can do, and there's a lot more things that are coming that Demio can do. So WebinarJam, I think, is very technical, whereas Demio has taken all the technicalities of WebinarJam and made it easy to do in 3 clicks. That's wicked. GoToWebinar, it feels like something that was literally designed in the 90s now, and it's 2016 and 17, so I can't, it's very, very, you can certainly use it, but I've never really got on with it. Webinar Ninja and Livestorm, I've included these two because they use both the same technology in terms of the live in-browser stuff. That's the stuff that Facebook uses for live events, but they're just not, doesn't feel as easy to use, and so they are a bit cheaper. I think Webinar Ninja's a bit cheaper. Livestorm's a bit more expensive and very aimed at the very sort of corporate end of things. Livestorm's very interesting actually, but again, depending on what you're looking for, like Livestorm's got insane analytics that yes, Demio has, but I question, unless you're going to spend a week doing look at the analytics, do you need them? Probably not. Okay, let's look at the pros of the system. So easy to use. As I said, 3 clicks and I was all set up. That's just nuts. Real-time webinars, what more can you ask for? Like, the whole point of a webinar is it's live, it's interactive. So yeah, the fact it's real-time, no messing around with secondary stuff. Even GoToWebinar has a couple of seconds, 5 seconds delay, and yeah. Very conversion focused. You might not think it when you set out, because they've done all the conversion techniques, like having offers pop up on screen and that sort of thing, is done in a lot more subtle way than maybe a WebinarJam. So it's actually nicer. Having been on the webinars and also run webinars, it's now nicer to just not be like, click this massive red button. It's a lot more, hey, here's the offer, click here. It's a very different approach to things that I really like. Plus, a huge benefit is there's a lot of sort of automations you can do behind the scenes, and they're adding more automations by the day, almost to help really maximize the impact of a webinar. That's fantastic. As I've said, it's highly interactive. The whole chat system feels very natural, feels like Facebook, so great. their support team is absolutely awesome. Both the founders have actually just, messaged me back about stuff that's just nuts and wicked. So, yeah, fantastic. And I know there's a big support staff as well. So this is a huge one that I know most people don't care about, because lots of people have got fast internet. If you're in Oz like me, good luck having fast internet. Even on slow internet, that's 40 kilobytes a second in my upload. Fantastic. So when I'm trying to run webinars at home on US time in Australia, it works. It's the only webinar system that I haven't had to do some kind of crazy setup to get good quality. Even on a slow internet system, 40 kilobytes upload is currently the one at home. Yeah, it even works. And that's going to get even better with the ability to preload content into the system. So you can actually preload your slides or preload a video in, so you're not having to basically screen share into a video on your computer, then play that video back. Video, you could be able to preload stuff into the webinar, and especially slides. So anyone on a slow internet connection, again, that's just going to be a huge benefit for me and others like me who don't have the most perfect internet connection. Okay, system's not perfect though. Demio's not perfect. Gonna put it out there. It's still new. There are going to be things that go wrong. There are going to be things that they can improve. I'm just going to put it out there. It might not be perfect. It's still quite new. But they have had 900 beta testers. I've run webinars. I haven't had a problem. But there's going to be lots of things that when, as thousands of people jump on the platform, I'm sure they'll find a few things. So just something to be aware of. And they make a huge point. It's they are not doing automated webinars, or they certainly do not plan to at the moment. They say the platform's very much about being live, very interactive. They do offer replays. So, you can have a replay of the webinar, or you can take your recording and put it somewhere else. But they have no built-in features to do automated webinars at present, and they don't, as far as I know, intend to. So what's my overall conclusion? Well, as I said, I was almost scared, first thing is, thank you very much for watching this Demio review. Thank you very much for spending the time to go through this presentation. Conclusion really is, I was almost scared, having just clicked something 3 times, that I must have done something wrong. But I hadn't. I'd actually set up an entire webinar. So, the ease of use of the platform is incredible. Actually, to present as well, it was so much nicer to present and actually run my webinars and not be feeling like, oh my god, is the system going to die in half a second, or is have I clicked record, can people see my screen, can people hear me, like, oh my god, I need to open 3 windows to find the chat. Like, it was just so much easier to actually do the webinar as well, that also made me happier to market it. And also the conversion's higher, like the actual experience for the audience is higher. So I would really say there are only really 2 players left of anyone that cares about, that has a conversion focused webinar system. That's Demio and WebinarJam. Right this second, I can only personally suggest going for Demio. It's so much cleaner, it's so much easier to use. Even WebinarJam, I love it. I've been on it for a year and a half now, having gone through GoToWebinar and a whole list of others. It's still just Demio makes my life so much easier, and I'm not stressed about running a webinar, and that's made my performances better, that's made the conversions higher, and the whole system's just set up for conversions as well. So I can only personally recommend Demio as someone who's using the platform and is actually excited to do webinars again and not scared that they're all going to die. So yeah, I mean, you do have the alternative of WebinarJam, but I'm personally going to stick with Demio, and I'm really lucky to have been tested it in beta and now it's live as well. It's awesome. So that's my review. If you think I've left any out of this Demio review, let me know. Click on the link below to the written article on Fridge Magazine. Let me know. If you got any alternatives I missed out, come over to the Fridge article, leave it in the questions box. And if you want to learn anything else about Demio, there's a link underneath this video that takes you to the information page, and there's a few more things I haven't covered here. There's like some loads of extra functionality that probably I don't want to bring to this video, but they certainly explained. So you can click the link below and go over to their site, check it out. So thank you very much for your time. Have an absolutely awesome day, and keep it cool, and I'll talk to you soon.